I'm not gonna fight you. You're my friend.
Welcome everyone to my latest action figure review, as I have the Medicom Mafex Captain America, dubbed as the classic suit from Captain America the Winter Soldier. So based on the 2014 movie sequel, which is still regarded as one of the best films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for me personally, it's definitely in the top 5 or 6, as Medicom have released their third character in this movie line. So following the Captain America the Stealth Suit edition, as well as the Winter Soldier himself, Bucky Barnes. And not only is this a great movie, this is one of the best looking cap suits throughout the Infinity Saga, and it's essentially the latter parts of the film, the final battle version. So inside we have the paper slip to certify it's a genuine product, as well as its trusted transparent stand. And here is one half of the packaging with the accessories, as well as the full look at the Captain America classic suit inside its packaging. So here is the first look at the Captain America the Winter Soldier classic suit, which is taken from the final battle, which in my opinion is not only a great film, this is one of the best cap suits he's worn in the MCU. And not only because of the colors that really pop, I feel that the belt areas around the shoulders as well as his waist, they really stand out, making this a very menacing looking Captain America. And I think Steve Rogers, Chris Evans in this film was very beefy, very muscular, and I feel that Medicom have definitely captured the likeness. And for me personally, if you've been following my channel, most of my Marvel collection is for the SH figure arts. I never really got around to buying the Mafex one, simply because I just don't need another one. But I feel for the Winter Soldier, since they never did that line, this was the opportunity to get the Mafex one. So it is my first cap for the Mafex line, and the proportions are pretty much nailed on. I think he's very beefy, very muscular, and no doubt it does capture the likeness like we see in the film. So those of you who picked up previous Captain Americas for the Mafex line, I guess you're not surprised by how good this looks. For me personally, I'm kind of just blown away on how good the proportions look, as well as the helmet with the chin area. Just everything about this screams Captain America from not only the movie, this is a very classic comics type of look. And those of you who picked up the previous Mafex one, whether it's the Infinity War or Endgame, or even the Winter Soldier Stealth Suit one, is it modeled after the same body? I feel that those ones, from what I've been seeing, the body proportions were pretty spot on. So I guess they probably use more or less the same type of mechanics. But no doubt, without exaggeration, this is probably better than any of the SH figure arts ones I have in my collection. Just the way it looks, I think the proportions are really good on this. So I'm kind of scratching my head on wondering why I didn't dive into the Mafex line earlier, because what they've done with this Captain America is really nailed on. So yeah, it's just really detailed, very nice, and yeah, I can't really give any more praise for this figure. It just looks amazing as a sculpt. So having seen this now in person, I may go back and buy the Winter Soldier, of course Bucky Barnes, to go with it, because of course I don't think SH figure arts will go back to that line. It's been 10 years already since the movie, so yeah, this is the one to now go for. And yeah, it's probably the best Captain America I now have in my collection, and I haven't even looked at the other accessories or put on his shield as well. But it's overtaken all the Marvel Legends and the SH figure arts one I have in terms of lightness. Next up, let's take a look at the different accessories, starting off with the hands. So there are a total of 6 pairs, including the ones right out of the packaging, which of course are the close-fisted hands, not only for those neutral poses, but Captain America will throw some punches. So for the first pair of alternative hands, we have the relaxed open palms, which can be used for some of the running poses, as well as a set of grappler hands for some natural poses, as well as a pair of finger pointing hands, which is classic Cap, like he's giving orders, as well as a pair of grappler hands to hold on to the shield, and finally a pair of throwing hands with the plastic pieces attached to it, which of course you do need to attach the shield on to give it the full effect. Next up, let's take a look at the shields included, as we have the standard Captain America shield with the scratches and damage. which I assume is accurate to the final battle. Of course, the Bucky Barnes figure also included the shield, which had a lot more dirt to it, which I assume that one is accurate for Bucky, but they are interchangeable if you have both the figures. And then we also have the classic shield, which I assume was only shown in the museum scene, so this is kind of as a bonus. I haven't seen the movie for a while, but from what I remember, I don't think Captain America actually uses this, especially for this suit. So I could be wrong, but I remember it was only taken from the museum, of course, which was a shield that he used in the first Avenger. And if we take a look at the back, it's pretty standard for Captain America. On both the shields, on one side you can remove the belt and switch it out. Of course, when he's not using the belt, he uses a small one, and then when he's actually using the shield, you can use the ones with the extra gap. So here is a first look at Captain America holding onto the shield with both the hands, as well as the shield attached onto one side, as well as the shield attached to the throwing hand. Also remove the back piece of Captain America and replace it with another one, which of course allows you to attach the shield at the back. And this is how you attach the shield to the back of the Captain America figure. I believe you just use the plastic piece included, you attach it to the back piece, and then you just slip it through the two belts. And here is the shield attached onto the back. So it's definitely not the most convenient way, but it does get the job done. And here is the bonus accessory where you have the rock piece, and of course you can place the classic shield onto it. So what they've included is a plastic transparent piece which you slip through to the rock, and then of course you can place the shield on. And now let's take a look at the alternative head sculpt. So the one right out of the packaging is a pretty good look of Steve Rogers. So they've included the aggressive alternative head sculpt for Captain America for those dynamic and fighting poses. So he does have that kind of gritted look with the teeth, and the lightness is still there. It's not as good as the standard one, but of course it's always needed for those battle poses. And for the third head sculpt included in this figure, we have the arm mask look. So we have the Steve Rogers look, and this is of course a great bonus. As we know from the final battle, he does take off the mask, and this look kind of has this aggressive face. It's not the best likeness I've seen, but it's still a decent one, and it's always needed for this Captain America. And what they've also included is the helmet on its own. We've seen this for the endgame version, so this one can be paired up with the arm mask look. You just need the hand to hold on to this. And now we can take a look at the articulation, so the movement of the Captain America figure, starting off with the head sculpt. So as standard, it can turn left and right, and a full 360 spin if you want. You can also tilt it left and right sideways, as well as downwards motion and upwards look as well, which is pretty good. And it does have a full rotation on the head. There's not much movement to the neck. I believe it's pretty stiff out of the box. I'm not sure standard Mafex Captain America's if they did have any kind of neck movement, but this one doesn't have much of it, and it's fine with me. I think the head sculpt does enough kind of rotation, so you don't really need the neck to turn. And then for the bodies, of course, you can see that the shoulder pads is kind of a separate piece from the actual body part, but you can see that it doesn't hinder anything in terms of the arms. You can move it side to side, no problems. And then of course forwards, upwards, backwards, good rotation as well. And then you can also move the Captain America arms all the way back like this, and then forward slightly for certain poses. And then of course it looks like it's only one piece for the arm, at least at the top half, so there is no like kind of turn for the biceps. You just have to turn the full arm rather than just this area. And then it does have a full bend on the arms as expected, and then there should be rotation on hands. It does detach quite easily, so just be careful there. And you can also, I'm pretty sure, have a small hinge. So for the arms, it's so far so good. And then for the body part, of course, we have the upper torso, which turns side to side, no problems. You can see it can go all the way around 360 if you want. There's no really hindrance with this belt. And then it can also tilt left and right, and then a forwards crunch and backwards as well. There's not much gaps, which is really good. And then for the waist area, you can see that it kind of rotates with the belt. So there's no real stiffness there, even though it's just out of the box. And in terms of body crunch, you can see it doesn't have much, but it's okay. I think for Captain America, it does kind of create this gap with this belt if you move it backwards, but most people will not have that pose. So the belt area is kind of a separate piece. It does slightly move when you move the body, so just be a bit careful when you're maneuvering it. And then for the legs, of course, it has the splits. You can rotate it forwards, backwards slightly. It does kind of have this piece that blocks it in the way, but it's fine with me. You see it does have the knee bend as expected. There is a rotation on the full thigh, and of course for the boots there is no rotation, but you do have kind of the foot area which moves upwards, downwards and side to side. And then for the toe, you can see it has a hinge as well. And let me just show you the knee bend once again. You can see it bends this far back, so it's actually pretty decent in terms of the articulation. So yeah, I think it's pretty standard for Mafex and it's decent for Captain America. So now for the size comparisons. As I mentioned, this is the first Mafex Captain America in my collection. So here it is side by side with the SH Figure Arts line. So on the left we have the Captain America from the Avengers Assemble, and on the right we have the Captain America from Avengers Endgame. Here it is next to some more SH Figure Arts with Captain America from Captain America Civil War, as well as Black Widow from Avengers Assemble. And here it is next to the SH Figure Arts Infinity War Falcon, as well as the Infinity War Bucky Barnes. And now that I have this Captain America Mafex version, I may go back and buy the Winter Soldier. And here it is next to some Marvel Legends with the Captain America from Avengers Endgame, as well as Bucky Barnes from Captain America Civil War. And here it is next to the Marvel Legends Captain America from the first Avenger, as well as Captain Carter from the What If line. And here it is next to some Mafex from the DC line with Batman from The Dark Knight and Superman from Justice League. And like always, we have some Marvel vs Capcom with the Jada Toys Ryu and Ken. So now for my final thoughts on the Mafex Captain America The Winter Soldier Classic suit. This is an unbelievable figure in terms of how good it looks with the proportions as well as the colours, as I feel it really captures the final battle look of Steve Rogers. I may have some bias since it's a great movie and I really like this suit, but no doubt this is one of the best figures I've seen Mafex do today, even though it's my first Mafex Captain America. And I believe it does model after the Endgame version as well as the stealth suit version from the Winter Soldier, so there's no surprises on how good this has turned out to be. I do have some nitpicks on this figure, like the belts attaching onto the shield can be done a bit better with the connection and even on the back of the body. And yes, the armrest head sculpt isn't the best looking one, but it still passes for me, and of course the other two head sculpts do look great. And in terms of improvements, I would add some bruises or maybe blood to the armrest head sculpts like we see in the film, just to switch it up, but I am pleased what's been offered and it's everything we needed for the final battle with the Bucky figure. And not only is this the best Mafex Captain America to date, this is the best one in my collection, beating all the SH Figure Arts as well as the Marvel Legends. So my score is a 9 out of 10. The movie was one of the best in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I feel that this figure lives up to the hype. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other Marvel news, reviews and collections, as well as stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.